Good morning, Ravens Nation. Today is Sunday, May the 8th, 2022. Happy Mother's Day out there. My name is Bill Woodcock, and I am a longtime Ravens fan ever since the team came in 1996. I was even a season ticket holder for the CFL's Baltimore Stallions in 94 and 95. Been a Ravens season ticket holder since 2003. And this is the first edition. Hopefully there will be more. There will at least be one next week of what I like to call the RavenX podcast. I've been part of a number of Ravens groups. I was part of a Ravens Roost for several years, still very active with the Ravens community via Facebook. And I decided to start this podcast because there seems to be a little bit of a lack of perspective of people of my generation, the Gen X generation, and because Ravens Nation, I can see the love and the passion for the Ravens, but there's also a lot of worry, a lot of concern. And so I just want to share with you guys and gals out there what I think. And you can feel free to disagree with me. You can feel, I hope you do agree with me. I hope you can at least maybe think about some things differently, even if you don't agree. And I am always up to talk some Ravens football, as you will see in this podcast and others. I am full of opinions and love to talk with my fellow Ravens fans. So, as we know, we're in the off season. The draft is behind us. Everybody, all the pundits seem to think that the Ravens had the best draft or one of the best drafts. And the Ravens just had their rookie mini camp just completed yesterday. They're even looking at signing a couple extra veteran free agents who were in town over the weekend. So I thought that for a first episode of this podcast, I would give a very, very, very way too early picture of what the final 53-man roster would look like for this team. So for this exercise, I just looked at who is in the building today, not thinking about who might be traded, although I will mention, who are people who might be traded or released. And I'm not going to talk about, bringing in everybody else. So I'm not going to talk about bringing in Jarvis Landry or Julio Jones or Julio Jones or anybody like that. But I am going to talk about, if the people who are building in the building today are the people with whom the management needs to choose their last 53, who are they going to pick? So with that, let's go right into it. I hope you'll be interested in these selections, and I hope you agree with most of them, disagree with some others, because it was a really interesting exercise, and there was a lot of interesting choices I had to make. So one of the things you'll notice is that I have, I believe, 4 of the rookie free agents making the team. So starting off with the quarterback position, of course, Lamar, of course, Tyler Huntley, but I have Anthony Brown, the rookie free agent QB from Oregon, making the team. He seems to have great credentials. One of his receivers from Oregon is an undrafted free agent receiver. I'll be talking about him in a minute. And I'm seeing overall the Ravens going back to that identity in 2018, 2019, when they carried 3 quarterbacks. And I just see that as happening again this time. So I see Brown as making the team as a 3rd quarterback. At running back, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Bradley will, of course, be back. Patrick Ricard will be the starting fullback. And I also have Tyler Batty, the running back from Missouri, who was drafted in the 6th round, making the team. This means Justice Hill, the 3rd stringer, who is the 3rd of the 3 Ravens running backs to have a season-ending ACL tear in the preseason. It means he'll be moving on. I can see Hill maybe making the team for special teams value and maybe trying to slip Batty through through the practice squad, but the Ravens typically have bad luck with trying to slip draft picks through the practice squad. So I see them keeping, in fact, all of their draft picks on the roster this year. So I see Hill as the odd man out there. At wide receiver, we have Rashad Bateman, of course, Devin Duvernay, and I would advise Ravens Nation not to sleep on Devin Duvernay. Remember, the guy was a Pro Bowler as a special teamer this last year. He is a good wide receiver, and the reasons why he and James Prochet were both drafted were because of their hands. They catch everything that's thrown to them. You know, those of you who miss Marquise Hollywood Brown here, I don't miss Hollywood. Hollywood style of play was not good for our offense. Never really understood, other than just the need for a fast, deep threat, why he was drafted. If I would have, would have sworn that we would have drafted the day of that draft. I would have sworn we were going to draft DK Metcalf, but we didn't. Drafted Hollywood, and Hollywood had some good moments for us. He also had some drops and some bad moments. But Duvernay and Prochet, you know, they have stickum on their hands. So they will be good number 2 and starting slot receivers. Tylan Wallace, I think, the 4th rounder from last year, will also make the team. And in this, I have another undrafted rookie free agent making the team, Slade Bolden, the slot receiver from Alabama. He has value as a returner, and as Prochet is going to be our starting slot. And I'm not sure that we'll also want to have that Coach Harbaugh will want to have Prochet also returning punts, although that could happen. And so I see Bolden making the team. If it's not Bolden, then I think Devon Williams, the large 6'4", 6'5" wide receiver from Oregon, who is an undrafted free agent, I see him making the team. At tight end, I see the Ravens carrying 4 tight ends. The 4 that I see are, of course, Mark Andrews, both of the free agent fourth round draft picks, Charlie Kolar, and then I'm blanking on Likely's first name, Isaiah Likely. For some reason, I was going to say Jordan Likely, but Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina, and the 4th tight end is somebody who you might not be thinking of that much, but he was a draft pick in the 5th round last year. He was picked as a fullback, but he's also like an H-back tight end type person, and that's Ben Mason, who was from Michigan. And those of you may remember, remember what I just said, Ravens have a problem moving draft picks onto the practice squad. Mason was put onto the practice squad last year. The Patriots picked him up, put him on the 53. Never saw action with the Patriots. I think he may have been in 1 game. And then he was released and then picked up by the Bears. Never saw action with the Bears, was dropped by the Bears and picked back up by the Ravens. So because of his versatility, he kind of fills that Eric Tomlinson role for the last couple seasons of being able to line up in the backfield, so he could be a second fullback. He can give us a real nice heavy set look on the goal line. If you put him and Ricard in at the same time and say a full house, I see Mason making the team as that last tight end spot. That means, of course, Nick Boyle is gone, and that's sad. But Nick has had a lot of injuries the last couple of years, and I could definitely see him being released or traded as a move for the team to get a little younger. Along the line, I'm very hopeful Ronnie Stanley makes it back from his injury, so I see him as the starting left tackle, Ben Cleveland as the starting left guard. I don't think you draft Tyler Linderbaum, number 25 overall, and not have him be your starting center. Kevin Zeitler would return as the starting right guard, and I think that the free agent right tackle we got, who was formerly with the Jets, Mason Moses or Marcus Moses, he will be with us as the starting right tackle. The backup lineman, Juwan James, as a tackle. Patrick McCarry, who can play all up and down the line, Tyree Phillips, and Daniel Filali, who's the massive 6'8", 380-pound right tackle who the Ravens drafted this year. This means the end of the Ben Powers experiment in Baltimore, and that's a numbers game. Powers is a decent backup, but I don't see a place for him on this team. Going to the defense now. At tackle, I would say we're returning Justin Matabuke, returning Calais Campbell. We have Travis Jones, the rookie who we drafted in the 3rd round from Connecticut, and we have Broderick Washington. So those are the 4 defensive tackles I see with the team at this time. On defensive end, we have Owe, we have Odafe Owe, we have Michael Pierce, and we have Tyus Bowser. Now that means the end of Derek Wolfe's time in Baltimore. And again, Wolfe had a lot of injury issues the last season and a half or so. Has not really appeared in a game in most of the last 2 seasons. And again, very hard to come back from injuries that are multi-season, and I just don't see it in the cards. I love Derek Wolfe. He's been a great player for us, but I don't see him getting back at that level. At the outside linebacker spot, now this is where I start to see. So outside linebacker, at wide receiver, I forgot to mention. And when I get to inside linebacker in a minute, that's where I start to see where the Ravens could bring in some outside free agents. Because our outside linebacker core right now maybe looks a little bit weak, because we have David Ojabo, the 2nd round draft pick from Michigan, who probably will definitely, I think, start the season on PUP. Could come back as early as October, may not come back until November or December. We have Malik Harrison, who is probably on his last chance in Baltimore if he hasn't already used up his last chance. Dalen Hayes, the very promising linebacker from who was a draft pick last year from Notre Dame, who was one of the 24 Ravens on the IL. And then I have one of the undrafted free agents making the team. I have the free agent linebacker from Auburn, and his name is Zacoby McClain. He's from Auburn. A surprising overlook in the draft process. 5'11", 227, has sideline to sideline speed. I have him making the team as an outside, and apparently is a very violent tackling machine. Plays like a Raven, as they say. So I see him making the team. So outside linebacker is somewhere where the Ravens can still add somebody, and they may very well have added somebody, because last week they did sign Justin Houston to a unrestricted free agent tender. So I believe teams have about a month to match that offer. And if they don't match it, then Justin Houston comes back to us. So that definitely would change the face of the outside linebacking core. But again, if Ojabo's on PUP to start the season, he's not on the 53. You slide Houston into that space where Ojabo is. At inside linebacker, I can also see somebody else making the team, because my core at inside linebacker is Patrick Queen, Josh Bynes, Jalen Ferguson, who also has to be near his last chance in Baltimore, and John Ross, the undrafted free agent linebacker from Michigan. So I definitely can see somebody added into that mix there. Not sure who that might be, but I can see it coming. At safety, we would have, I'm actually one of those who thinks that we're going to wind up with a very flexible secondary core in Baltimore. And I think that's going to be necessary to keep the quarterbacks in the AFC North, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson or whoever winds up playing in Cleveland, if Deshaun Watson is suspended, and whoever winds up playing in Pittsburgh, be it Mitchell Trubisky or Kenny Pickett or whoever winds up being the starting back in Pittsburgh, it's going to have to keep them guessing. So, of course, Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams, our first round draft pick and free agent pickup from New Orleans, I see. Geno Stone, I see making the team as a backup. And I still see Chuck Clark on this team. Now, he could be traded, but I think that we have the options for some very interesting looks in terms of a nickel dime quarter package, in terms of how we can mix up personnel with 3 safeties, 4 cornerbacks, or 4 cornerbacks, 3 safe, or 5 corners and 2 safeties. And again, I'm talking about a quarter coverage, 7 defensive backs. And same thing for dime coverage and even nickel coverage. We could play big and put 3 safeties out there to come at you, or we can play smaller and faster, and we can throw at you 5 corners in a nickel package, or even, theoretically, even 6 corners in a dime. Not saying they would, but we could. So I think that, you have the more athletes you have at that position, the more flexibility you show. And when you think about, let's face it, Cincinnati's got a pretty potent receiving core, and they're the team we definitely have to get over. Of course, we got to get over everybody because we were last in the division. I can see us staying flexible at safety. So at corner, Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey return. We would have Amon Marshall and one of my favorite players on the team, Brandon Stevens, for his versatility as a backup cornerback. And then the 2 4th round draft picks, Jalen Armour Davis, and yes, I am reading their names, Jalen Armour Davis and Demarion Williams as backup corners. So in the cornerback and safety room, who winds up and out are Darius Washington, the number 17 Robert Jackson, who was on the team last year, and there are a couple others who were fill-ins when we had all of those players out with injury and injured reserve last year, who I see out of the mix. So overall, who do I see as out on this team in 2022? Again, I mentioned Nick Boyle. I did not even mention the specialists. So Justin Tucker and Nick Moore will, of course, be the kicker and long snapper. And the punter in the 4th round, who was drafted, Jordan Stout, I see is coming in to replace Sam Cook in 2022. We didn't draft a punter in the 4th round to have him sit on a practice squad. We drafted him to play him. It's the highest the Ravens have ever. I think we did draft Dave Zastudil in the 4th round. I'm pretty sure, if memory serves. So I would expect Jordan Stout to be our new punter, and Sam Cook to headline that list I was going to get to of Ravens who will no longer be with the team, along with Nick Boyle, along with Justice Hill, Derek Wolfe, Tristan Colon, the offensive lineman, Ben Powers, and an Ardarius Washington, along with, also with Jimmy Smith, one of the last remaining links to the Super Bowl 47 winning team. So that's how I see the Ravens 53 adding up. Interested in your thoughts? Be sure to comment below. This has been fun. I've really enjoyed this. Next weekend, I'm going to do this again. The NFL schedule comes out on Thursday, and so we'll know much more about who the Ravens got when. We'll see what prime time games we have. We'll see when the marquee matchups are. For example, that game against Buffalo. And we'll also, we know that the Ravens don't have any international games, but we know they'll have a Thursday night game. We'll see if there's any Sunday and Monday night games on tap or anything else, a Thanksgiving game maybe, or anything else special to look forward to. So I will come at you again next weekend with that. And in the meantime, interested in what you think about this. I hope you all have a great day. Take care.